YouTube vinyl community, tennis fans, random people on the internet, my name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about Tennis's most recent full-length LP, Yours Conditionally, released on their own label, Mutually Detrimental. This is the first album they put out on that label that they started themselves, and you may notice that the sale price sticker is on this record still because I can't take it off and I wanted to keep the plastic on it, so $13.99, alright. I really, really love this album. For me, this is probably their best album, and it seems to have been their most successful so far. Prior to the lead up of this album, they felt a little burnt out after putting out their last album and kind of had to reconfigure what they wanted to do. And they came to the decision that they were going to make music that they really, really loved and believed in and truly appreciated, or else it wasn't going to work. So, as per what they've done before, they took a sailing trip. They did that with their first album, which was called Cape Dory. And on this one, they sailed to the Sea of Cortez, and it was like a 5-month trip. And they went through some pretty rough waters, and in that time, they got to be just by themselves and isolated and write songs and just experience life and get away from it all. They're pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? They like to be alone. I think they need this like off time so they can go back out and be indie rock stars. Because I think they're doing pretty well for themselves. I think they're pretty successful. And they were on a couple of labels for a long time, and that's how I met like Patrick Carney, who produced their second album. So like they've got connections out there, and I think being on your own label, just you can do so much more. You don't have to have the pressure of hoping a label will like what you made and then trying to promote it. You can just do it all yourself, which is fantastic. And so they actually ended up being the Vinyl Me Please album of the month, I think in March of 2017. Which is humongous because, that's like 20,000 people right there that are going to get your album. That's a really big chunk of people. So they were honored about that, and this album just overall, I think, shows a humongous growth. I think a giant leap forward, and it's just going to keep getting better and better from here. I did recently talk about their most recent EP, which came out at the end of 2017, We Can Die Happy. And that sort of continues the vibe of this album. I really enjoy the aesthetic and the sincerity on this album. So let's just jump right into this thing, you guys. In the Morning I'll Be Better is the lead-off track on this thing, which I think is one of the best opening tracks easily from them. And I love it as an opening track in general. It's got this like sprightly, angelic vocal from Elena. And then it's got that really cool shuffling drum beat that happens throughout the entire rest of the song. Lots of hi-hat, like a loose hi-hat with like a really dry snare. And you instantly get the feel that this album's going to have a slight 70s sort of bend to it. Maybe a little bit of a 70s pop soul kind of vibe, which works really well in their favor. After the last few albums have been like pretty 60s pop influence, which is great. But I think this vibe, I think they're finding their voice a little more on this album. I think enough time has passed and enough trial and error has happened to see what works for them, what they're most comfortable with, and I think this is what works most well for them. But I love the vocals on this album as a whole, but especially in this first song. I mean, she hits some notes that are so airy and high, but so pretty and confident and full of soul. Her vocals are just unbelievable. I love hearing her voice, and I think, obviously mixing it with the clever lyrics they come up with, that combination is totally a winner for me. The guitar work on this song is very subtle, but it sticks in your head. He's not, Patrick isn't playing just like crunchy riffs the entire time. He kind of adds layers where they're needed. And because of that, it completely works very, very well. So great song to open up with. Track 2, My Emotions Are Blinding. This is a really, really great song. Nice heavy bass lead leading off the song. The guitar riff is fun, kind of hypnotic, kind of like a loop almost. Kind of head bobbing, kind of repetitive, but in a fun way. Super infectious. And again, Elena, her voice again, she's just got this like, not like an accent, but like her voice is just so fun to listen to. She's got a happiness and a soul and a character to her voice that carries these songs to a dimension completely on their own. I feel like if other bands tried to do this sound, it wouldn't work, but these two know how to do that sound right. and it's only because it's coming from them. So, I think just their own character, their own blend is what makes this special. It makes that sound work as well as it does. This song I found really interesting because I think it's like a pro-woman song, um, and how women are portrayed in the media, and obviously her being a woman, her reaction to things that she sees, and maybe reactions that other people might feel to things that she might create or other women might create. So I was trying to read more deeply into this song because I feel like there's still more layers to go on this one to figure out. But I really like the message coming across from it, and I really like the emotion laid out throughout the song musically. So, fantastic track. Fields of Blue is a song that actually started off from their travel logs. It's not like a verbatim thing of, we landed at this port and this port and this port. It was more of a reflection on what was happening throughout the trip. And I really, really like this song. It's to me, this song sounds like an older tennis song. It sounds like there's something on Young and Old. But I really like that it's got a bit of that 60s pop vibe. It kind of takes a break from the 70s smooth feel. And I like the pitter-patter kind of drums, the dreamy production. I think the guitars on this one are fantastic. You and I only over 100 stories, I think, is a great line. Yeah, cool song. Ladies Don't Play Guitar, another song about, women in rock and roll and how, they get asked this question a lot, what's it like to be, a woman playing rock and roll? And even just asking that question sets this precedent that it's only supposed to be for guys. And that's ridiculous. So, it's probably a weird juxtaposition to be in, having to answer that question without having it sound like you're, trying to make waves saying this is a male-dominated format or something. It's rock and roll. It's here for everybody. Let's all just have a good time. So, I think it's a fascinating song. And apparently she didn't even intend this song to be on the album. She just had this set of lyrics, this poem, basically. But it works on this album so well. I think it needs to be here. And then Matrimony, the last song on side one, is a song about their wedding day, and it's one of my favorite songs on this album, actually. It's got these really cool, fuzzy, dreamy drums, and the vocals are sung so beautifully. I love the vocal melody on the chorus and the syncopation. The way she blends the words with the music, I think, works extremely well. The chorus vocals, for me, I found to be really complicated. Being able to execute those and sing those so perfectly and eloquently, I think is a true testament to their strengths and talents. So, yeah, great song there. But you really feel the romance, you feel the passion, you feel your heartstrings being pulled. It's got a bit of that nostalgia feel that kind of grabs at you a little bit. Yeah, awesome song. Baby Don't Believe, track 1 on side B. This song for me feels like if you're in the 70s at a roller skating rink and the lights are going off and no one else is there and you're on your own, you're skating by yourself, the disco ball's still swirling, the music is still playing, and you're sad and you're bummed out that everyone left and you didn't get to talk to that one person you really wanted to talk to, and now the night's over. It's got that kind of maturity, it's got that deep confidence, it's also got that heartbreak. I really love the crisp, tight drum production on this song. It's got a really dry production, but I like that crack that the drums have. And the sparsity of the rhythm, I think, adds a lot. So it's one of those things where what you don't say says a lot. So, great track. Please Don't Ruin This for Me. It's the third song on this album with the word "don't" in the title, which I think is interesting. It's got the wood blocks, it's got some tambourines, it's got hand claps. Definitely got that bit of a 60s influence, but I'm still getting a current indie pop kind of feel. And the way she sings, "Please Don't Ruin This for Me" over and over again, that sweet, delicate voice that she can pull off. Really cool. Love that a lot. And there's almost a call and response moment a lot of the times with some of the guitar lines, which I think is pretty cool. 10 Minutes, 10 Years is the next track on side B, and I love there's a line that goes, "We are only single moments strung together and held dearly." It's an amazing line. I love this classic sort of feel. This sounds like an older tennis song again too, but it's got really excellent, clean guitar tone. Really dig that vibe on that one. The shaker in the background, the dense drum production, um, gives them like a damper, heavier feel, which I think works really well. And that bouncy, airy background vocals are a great touch. One thing I want to give them a lot of credit for throughout this whole album is their production. Some of the songs differ from each other, sometimes more subtly, sometimes pretty greatly, if you're paying attention. And especially with the drums. I'm a stickler for drum sound, and I love how they mix the drums on this album. I think it sounds so alive and so vibrant. Whether they're more of a damp sound, whether they're more of a heavy sound, or a crunchy or crispy sound, excellent work with the drums on this thing. Modern Woman is the next track on here, and I think this is another one Elena had as a poem she wasn't sure would go on the album, but a fascinating song. I mean, it really is. It seems to be like about distanced friends or awkward relationships. The awkwardness that can exist in current relationships, and how maybe things aren't working out the way it's supposed to work out, and how you're supposed to fit in with that feel and move forward, and either try to figure things out or try to figure out what your place is with that situation. Relationships can be kind of complicated sometimes, and I think this song captures that vibe really well. The acoustic guitar and the build-up throughout, I think, is done very, very well. The layered vocal harmonies, the echoey production, it's an amazing track. It's easily one of my favorite songs on this album. I think it's a fantastic track. And then the last song on here, Island Music. Very heavily echoed vocal, really muffled drum beat, like they recorded it next door, and there just happened to be a mic through the walls. It's almost like a lullaby. The guitar plays along the whole time with the vocals, and it almost wants to put you to sleep. It's a really like lost in a dream kind of feel, or like you're listening to an old radio, like from another dimension. And then it's kind of over after that. It kind of just fades away, which I think is a really nice way to end the album. I mean, it kind of opens with a soft, chimey opening, and then kind of closes on a soft, like, distant kind of feel. Works out really well. Overall, let me show you the back cover here. And the inside is cool. I mean, you got some more of their eyes, and you got the lyrics here. This one happens to be on a white vinyl. Pretty cool. There is a blue vinyl that exists out there. It does come with a download code, which I still enjoy. And seriously, this is probably my favorite Tennis album. I absolutely adore this album. There isn't a bad track on it, and the whole thing plays so well. I think it's sequenced perfectly. I think it's mixed really well. Just a really, really fun, interesting, clever album. Sometimes really heartfelt moments, sometimes really deep moments, sometimes really light moments, reflective. The combination of the two of them together and what they are going through as a couple, and how they react to the world as people, and how they feel about relationships. They do an excellent job of verbalizing that and capturing that feeling through music. So, huge fan of this band, huge fan of this album. I really, really recommend it. I'd give this a 9 out of 10. I think it's an absolute fantastic album. One of the best of 2017, for sure. So, that's it. Let me know what you think about it. I'd be curious to see what you guys think. The other Tennis video had some pretty good comments going on, so I'm curious to hear what you guys think about this one, and we could talk about Tennis, one of my current favorite groups. So that's it. My name is Giggens. This has been Tennis, yours conditionally, released on their own label, Mutually Detrimental, 2017. So that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Tennis. Bye-bye.